Hey, it's me, ABSD, and welcome to the Inner Dialogue podcast. Not only is it the 50th episode of my podcast, it is also a huge monumental moment for me and this journey because I am reaching the 1 year mark. Today is Saturday, April 27th. And 1 year ago on April 29th, my first podcast episode posted. And it was scary and it brought up so many triggering wounds for me that I have been processing through this podcast, through therapy, through life, through experience, through learning in my life to lead me here now, April 27th, 2024, a year with the podcast, a year tapping into my inner dialogue and letting my voice be a vessel to this podcast to as a tool to be able to vocalize my thoughts and my feelings and my embodiment, my being, to have a space where it's all documented. This podcast has been a gift and a dream and this beautiful culmination of a safe space for me and a safe space for you and a safe space for my guests that come in and spend an hour plus or less of their time with me in this space, being vulnerable and living in their courage and living in their joy. And is every minute joyful? No, because we have polarity, we have both, and we have to acknowledge and live in both. Light doesn't exist without darkness. And so we have to address it and acknowledge it. I wanted to celebrate some of the achievements that the podcast has had since it started a year ago. First of all, I'm proud of 50 episodes recorded. That feels like just a huge accomplishment, and I'm so proud of that. I am proud to say that 40 episodes as of now are posted. Total plays 745. When I think about that number, I think about 745 times people have logged in to listen to me speak, to listen, to sit in this space with me, to just hear my life experience and the experience of others that sit in this space with me. And that's really fucking cool. So thank you for being one of those people and tuning into this space, because it means the world to me that you are believe in me, believe in listening enough to see something differently or to learn or to understand my journey and where I'm at and where I'm going. I love you so much. Right now on Spotify, I have 21 followers. Woo woo. We're in 15 different countries. Amazing. And I've had 5 guests on the podcast, and 1 guest is planned for Monday on the 1 year anniversary. And here's what ended up happening. I was thinking about the fact that I don't want my 50th episode to be with somebody. I want it to be by myself because it just feels like a huge accomplishment for me. And it's also the 1 year anniversary. And that's going to be so fun to get to record an episode on that day and acknowledge that. But I wanted this episode to be mine. And so it's going to be a surprise episode that posts on the 29th. So in 2 days, which means ABSD, you need to edit this and post it. Yeah, my weekend is nothing what I thought it was going to be. All of my plans got canceled or rescheduled, and it wasn't meant to be. And the universe keeps telling me I need to rest. So I've been doing things around the house, and that's been really great. I'm sitting at a table that I got from a dear friend who I nanny for, and they got a new kitchen table. So they gave it to me, and I was like, hell yeah, I'll take it. I'll put it in my office. I have so much space up here. And now I have a craft table or a puzzle table, or today I'm podcasting at it because I just set it up and it felt good to be able to sit here and to do this today. So a different background behind me, which is fun. I feel like the podcast has brought so many feelings and emotions and thoughts and creativity out of me this year. And it's been really amazing to watch it grow. I came into this year meeting myself with grace that I was going to fumble through it, and not all of it fumbled. I took a step every day, every time that it felt good. And this has been a hobby that has now felt good for me to do every part of for a year. And if you know me, you know that I am not the best at keeping hobbies, because I try something and I do it really aggressively and intensely for a very short period of time and then move on to something else. And there are very few things that really stick for a long period. And this has, because I met myself with grace and I grew through it. And that's all that I can do as myself. And in this humanness, I meet myself with love, and I try to be intentional with how I treat myself. And in turn, because I do that and give myself love in how I treat myself, then I'm able to show up in the world and for and with others in that way too. And this podcast has been a beautiful place for me to do that. Hell yeah, it has. Hell yeah. I've gained courage. We've had vulnerability, love, joy, sadness, anger, confusion, light, darkness, hope, and an abundance of trust. I've talked about everything under the sun, including the universe, spirituality, love, sex, shaving my head, sexuality, gender, hobbies, weed, grace, travels, transitions, realizations. And now the last year of my life has been building to this moment in time, here and now, of where I am and who I am and how I be. And it's exciting because this journey that I've been on for the last year has been the most transformative year of my life. And the last 3 weeks, month, really, almost, I guess we're closer to 5 weeks. No, I would say month really has been really transformational for me in my body, because I've started living authentically in my gender expression, which has felt really, really powerful. And there's an episode coming out about that really soon. So I just said that and realized that this one is not coming out in 2 months. It's coming out in 2 days, which is a very big difference. But I feel safe as I say that to do that and take that action, because that's going to feel really good and what I want to do. Even though right now it's interesting because it feels challenging, because now I'm like, oh fuck, that means I want to make sure that I talk to a couple people before I post this. And if I don't get around to talking to them, I'm going to try. And that's all that I can do, is just try. I love this life. Wow. Was not expecting that today. Was not expecting that today. But this podcast has really encouraged my vulnerability. And now I'm just vulnerable. And that's who I am and how I be and how I show up in the world. And that's a beautiful gift that I've developed through this podcast this year. And this podcast has been given me so much. And something I've realized is that I have discovered how ABSD is really developed inside of me, which means that ABSD, yes, does stand for a better standard direction. But I started using ABSD 2 years ago because my internal knowing knew that it was related to something that was greater than me as well. But I didn't know what that meant at the time. So my travel agency was called ABSD Travel, and that stands for me, travel, obviously. And people would ask me what ABSD stood for and the business title, and I didn't have an answer because it wasn't an acronym for anything. But about a year ago, an acronym came to me, ABSD came to me in the form of what the acronym meant, and it means a better standard direction. And so now it is a social movement. It was never supposed to be a business, but I had to grow through that experience 2 years ago when I started all of that and got married and started my business to begin with. And it's been a journey ever since. a big journey ever since. A Better Standard Direction is going to be launched at the end of June and officially launched. You can already go and visit a very nice outline of our website that is live if you would like to, and follow the Instagram account. That'd be cool. And start to follow what that's developing into, because it is my next project, right? The podcast was my focal point for a year, and I will continue the podcast, but a lot of my energy is going to be turned to A Better Standard Direction and developing this social movement. A Better Standard Direction is going to be a movement. It already is. It's a movement of love. It's a movement of facilitating change in the world and teaching humans the power that we all have inside of us and the light that is attached to that, and how to live our lives through the lens of love for ourselves, for others, and for the community. We will be an organization that helps uproot societal problems and help look at the holistic person, the holistic human, and how to help all humans live a better standard direction of life, because we are not set up in our society to help aid humans to live in their authenticity, in their joy, in their light, because of the way our society revolves around money and ego and competition. And we're all just looking for a way to not have to worry about where our food is coming from and how to afford our housing. The fear of money is what comes up in almost every conversation that I have, because it is a common theme for 99% of the people. I think the 1% has grown a bit because wealth has been learned how to accumulate in a new way. And so the wealth that we now have in our society is more considered just well off rather than wealth, because of how much money exists in our world. So that's a whole other tangent that I don't want to get into right now, because I talk about it in a lot of podcast episodes, and I don't want to get into that side of things, but it's going to be amazing to watch the work that A Better Standard Direction does and the input from the collective, because this is something that is done and works when the collective works together. We bring our resources together. We chat with our community, and we talk about the things that are happening and how to actually solve them at a root level, rather than putting a band-aid on it. We're not here to just keep throwing resources at something that's not actually solving it and stopping the cycle. We have to stop the cycle of these problems. And that's what A Better Standard Direction is created to help do. It's also created to help inspire people to know how to do that for themselves, and also for the communities, how to make these adjustments in your own life so that you do have space to go out in your community and have space to give, to love, to see people through the eyes of love, to give people a chance to trust yourself, to love whatever higher source you believe in, even if that is nothing, to know and to trust the science behind your brain, and to integrate that into your life so that you can live a happier and healthier life. Mindset will help you do that with changing the way that you think at a scientific molecular level in your body. It's amazing. And I am an incredible example of how this work can change someone's life. And go back and listen to the last year of my podcast if you don't believe that, because that's evidence in itself, evidence that this works, evidence that it takes time and intention and energy. But if you continue to show up for yourself and grant yourself grace when you don't, and grow through it, and know that we're not here for perfection, we're here for growth, you are going to come out on the other side and be so fucking grateful. A year ago, I was in Florida for a bachelorette party, and I saw a picture on Facebook that was a memory. I hardly recognize the human that was. And we're going back to Florida in less than 2 months now. And I'm a different person. I am a different person than I once was when I was there a year ago. For a lot of those people, we haven't seen them in a year. It's amazing what can happen in a year. And I'm grateful for that. Immensely grateful, I tell you. Well, truly, I'm going to keep this one short and sweet for myself and for all of you. It's a surprise episode, and editing it back, I got to make sure that I'm not sitting here forever and actually want to do it, you know? Some of my longer episodes, I have to chunk into time because sitting down for an hour straight and listening to our conversation again, it takes time and intention, and I often don't have a full hour to do it in me. So that's okay because it always gets done the way that I want it to and in the time that I need it to. And it's better than I could ever imagine. I love the process of podcasting, being sitting here recording an episode, then going through the process of having to listen to it back and edit it and write down a caption and post that and create the cover art and post that and make the reels and caption them and then save it all so that it's ready to be posted and schedule it out. And all of the things that I've grown into doing in this podcast has been amazing. And I have more things that I will grow on top of it, but I am at my max capacity for right now. That's okay. I have to learn as I go and add things as I go. And that's all the things that I've added this year, which is badass. At one point, it was just the recording and editing and posting, and that was it. And now I post on Instagram and post reels on Instagram. It's really, and TikTok and Facebook and all of the places. It's cool. I'm next moving to YouTube, but I haven't gotten there yet. And eventually, in time, all of these actual videos, because I record the audio and the video, will be posted on YouTube for you to watch too. That intimidates the shit out of me, and I haven't gotten there, but one day they will all be there. So look forward to that as that develops too, because we're growing through it. I'm grateful for all of you who sit in this space with me and hear my inner dialogue and just let me be. I am who I am, and I forever on, I'm going to be that. And if you want to be in my life, an active member of that in whatever way that looks, accepting me for me is amazing. And of course, you're allowed to have an opinion about it, but that opinion does not need to be said to me. It's none of my business what your opinion is about me because I love me. And if something harmful is happening, I have trusted people in my life to check me, which I love. This is just, it's fucking awesome to get to live as a human in this time and now with all of the technology and resources that exist. I'm grateful, grateful, grateful. I love you, beautiful humans. Thanks for celebrating my 1 year with my podcast. Go out, be awesome, love loudly, take up space. Your unique and authentic gifts are needed in this world. I want to see them. I love you. Bye.